Hi, Amanda. Thank you for coming in today. What's brought you in?
Um, I am struggling with a decision that I have to make. Um, Basically, I randomly got in contact with um my father. Well, not my father, but my father's wife. Um, because I was trying to find him in social media, but he doesn't have any accounts. So I had to go through her to contact him, and I, it's I talked to my dad maybe a few times during high school through writing letters, but um, I haven't seen him since I was 6 years old, and I'm 30 now, so it's been a long time. But anyway, so I got in contact with his wife, and just I don't really know what my intention was. I guess I just wanted to see how he was, and I just had this weird overwhelming feeling of curiosity that I really haven't um, felt before. So come to find out, he was diagnosed with a type of leukemia in December of 2017. Um, and he's refusing treatment because he doesn't want to spend. So he's refusing treatment, so they gave him 5 months to live. So that would have been in February is when he was supposed to pass away. And he's refusing treatment because he doesn't want to, spend his last time chemotherapy in the hospital and stuff. So that's why it's such a short timeline. So basically, I'm kind of struggling with, do I meet up with him face to face to get to ask him these questions I never had, and yeah.
Mm. So it sounds like you're really struggling with making the decision on whether to meet with him or not meet with him. Am I correct?
Yeah, and both my sisters, who are younger than me, have actually already met up with him. Um, I'm the only one who hasn't yet.
Oh, okay. So I guess I would like to know, so after so many years, like aside from the leukemia, um, why why now? Like why would you choose now to meet up with him? Is it just because of the leukemia, or you said you were kind of looking him up on social media, and you just happened to find out about the leukemia, right? And you had no prior knowledge to it?
I had no idea that he um, had cancer. The last form of communication was in high school, so 2004
Okay.
ish was the last time, and that was only through writing letters. Um, I'm not really a person who I have to see something to believe it. So I guess I would consider myself spiritual and stuff, but I was basically what prompted me getting in contact and kind of starting this again was
Mm.
I was in my basement, and I was looking through a bunch of old things. I was trying to find some old pictures because I was making a scrapbook for my brother. So in the midst of looking for other things, I came across all the letters that I kept that my father wrote me in high school. And when I picked them up and I was holding them, I got this crazy, strange, overwhelming feeling that I just needed to know where he was. Like, I just needed to know. And I've I've known those letters were in there, and I've held them in the past, and I've never had any reaction. I was just like, oh, whatever, I can move them to the side. But it was just weird. It was this gut feeling, kind of like when moms, have intuition or
Mm.
gut feelings. So that weird, unexplainable, overwhelming feeling of needing to know where he was is what prompted the whole thing.
Okay.
And I guess um, maybe what is drawing me to wanting to definitely, not definitely, but more so now than before, and this sounds awful, but I really do think the cancer changes the situation because, death is so permanent. And when the option of not being able to ever meet him is taken away, it does change things. So, I truly do feel that the cancer does change the situation.
So,
I'm not sure if I would be as likely to want to meet him if there wasn't such a permanent factor like in the mix.
okay. So from what you just described, it sounds like you were down in the basement looking at photographs and reminiscing and things like that, and you just had this like innate urge to find out how your dad was doing,
Mm-hmm.
where he was, and it was like very intuitive.
Mm-hmm.
Am I correct?
Yeah.
Okay. So I guess in a perfect world, so it sounds like you want to meet him. So in a perfect world, if you were to meet him, what would that interaction and meeting look like?
I guess like the biggest thing I would want to come from it is honesty, like from both parts, like because I would ask hard questions,
Mhm.
like why did you abandon, 3 daughters with a mom who like is already struggling financially, has epilepsy, has mental health problems, and you like abandon us? Like I would want, in a perfect world, I would want him to answer things honestly, and I don't know. I think in a perfect world on my side, I would want to approach the situation like with an open mind, I guess, and kind of have some emotional intelligence and just not, I don't know, just try to be open minded and not let like anger or resentment kind of fuel, why I'm doing this or yeah.
Okay. So in a perfect world, you would get some answers that obviously you've struggled with over the years. You would get those answers from your father.
Yeah, and I think in a perfect world, I would want to feel like a sense of relief
Mm.
from being able to, say what I needed to say to this person and like, yeah, I don't know, just a sense of relief because I've carried around like so many questions since I was, 6 years old.
Okay.
So,
after your meeting, how would you know after meeting him that your interaction in that meeting went well?
um, how would I know that it went well?
And that you got out of it what you wanted?
I guess I would know that it went well if I walked away knowing that I like put myself out there, and I don't want to use the word vulnerable, but I have the tendency like when I don't know, when I feel like I'm going to get hurt or I'm in like a vulnerable situation, it's very easy for me to like shut off my emotions and just like put up this wall. So I feel like I would know that the meeting went well if I was able to just approach it honestly and feel like I didn't have a wall up and was able to, show, I guess, show emotion and be honest with the emotion that I have rather than just using anger and resentment about being abandoned because there's things underneath that. So I feel like I would know if it went well if I knew that I didn't hide behind my anger and that I asked the questions I needed to ask. I mean, I'm sure a million other questions will come up as time goes on, but I think initially I would walk away feeling like the majority of what I've held on to, I was able to like let go of and kind of confront.
Okay.
Sorry, that was a long-winded answer.
No, so it sounds like you're looking for, at the end, some sense of peace.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah.
Okay. So now I'm going to ask you like an exception question. So lately, obviously, you've struggled with feelings of wanting.
What does an exception question mean?
Looking at it from like a different perspective. So
Okay.
As of recently, you've really had this desire to meet up with your dad.
Yeah.
Could you describe a time in your life where you didn't have that desire and you were okay with it?
I think I went through many phases in my life, I guess changing, if I was okay with my dad not being there, or, I remember from ages 6 to through high school that I wasn't okay with it. But I feel like probably when I got to college and in grad school, I don't ever remember feeling like I was missing anything or that I needed to have a dad, because I've always had, I have a great uncle who I'm like super, super close with, and he's always been like a strong male presence in my life. And I think because of that, as I've grown closer to him, as I've gotten older, it kind of filled that void where like feelings of abandonment by my own father would be. So I would say probably like 20 till like up until a few months ago, I truly felt like I don't even know if maybe I was okay with it, but it definitely wasn't on my mind. I I didn't feel like I was missing out on having a father because I have such an honorable, good man
Okay.
in my life. But there was a time where I did make peace with it and I got over all that anger and resentment I held on to as a little girl. So there have been, I guess, blips of exception.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So if you were to go through with this on a scale from 1 to 10, 1 being the least likely that you would meet up with your father, and 10 being the most likely that you would proceed with taking action to meet him, how likely would you be to follow through with it?
I'd say like a 7 that I would. 10 being that I definitely would. I would say I'm at a 7. I feel like as the weeks go on, that number could get higher, just because I know like his time, here is winding down. So I don't know. I feel like I I'm more likely to meet up with him than not.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.